Alright, so here we go. I decided to do a little bit of a history in my life of S13's because it got rather long. And I thought it might be fun for something to do while I'm doing nothing. So, we're going to do a little, I guess, scroll through history here. I started out in 2005. I bought my first 240. And let's see if we got that here. Alright. So, here's my first 240. Good old low res pictures because it's old. Bone stock SE. It was a non-Hicus car with an LSD in it, which was kind of cool. And yeah, pretty much original, a little bit of rust, but it was 92 with 100 and what was it, like 125,000 K on it or something when I bought it. And that's the end of the last day it was alive. Yeah, a guy ran a red light, and yeah, that was the end of that car. There's an old one. There's Nikolai drifting my car because he broke his. I don't know how that happened, but he took me for one ride and then kicked me out because I was too heavy. Yes, Nikolai, I was too heavy for my own car. This is, I guess, probably the last stage it was modified before I got hit by a truck. Nismo LMGT4s. It had KTS coilovers. Pretty full selection of SPL arms. And a Pexi dual N1 exhaust. I love that exhaust. It was last seen on Kevin Peterson's G35. If you want to think back that. He came and picked it up because it was pretty much scrapped. It was bent in the middle. And yeah, kept it for probably almost 10 years and cut it up and put it on the G35, which was kind of cool. But there's a better look at. I have no idea how he survived that one. That was a good hit. Anyway. Yep. So, on to the next one. This was a 1989 Nissan 180SX that I bought. A guy imported a bunch of cars. This was one of the last ones left. He was trying to sell 2 or 3 different cars, and whichever one sold first. And that was about it. So I picked this one up. It's a blacktop SR in a 89. It looks fairly factory. It was a pretty, I'm going to say pretty factory refresh. It had all the gaskets and stuff in it once we started to look into it some more. It looks like a factory installed, but it wasn't. Because this would have been originally a CA automatic car, which the VIN said anyway. It came with the welded diffs and coilovers. Nothing really fancy. Some wheels that I think I still have a pair of somewhere. Oh, yes. So, this was a little while later. This was passing my inspection, I think. I had to put some different wheels and tires and stuff on to get past inspection because tires from Japan don't pass DOT. Oh, one of my first drift days. This would have been 2010. So, I think I originally picked this car up in 2007 or 2008. I bought a GTR when I first had the red car written off, but it blew up before I really took any pictures, so I couldn't find any pictures of that. But this was I think like 2008-ish, somewhere in there. 2007. No, before that, 2006. Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah. So inspection. This was my first ever drift event at Bremerton Speedway with Steven. I can't remember your last name, or Stefan. Anyway, he had a Subaru Impreza drift car, did Pro-Am, very good teacher. He came out for the day and basically sat with me for most of the day and showed me what I was doing. And worked out great. I was having a bunch of fun, and I could pretty much link the track by the end of the day. So, not bad for my first time out. And some more, if you're wondering who JR Photos is, that is Josh Redding. That was probably, I don't even think I ever met him that day. Maybe. Yeah, anyway, still a very good friend of mine. Was this like 10 years later? Wow. Feel old. Yeah, anyway, so more drifting. Had a bunch of fun. This was Evergreen, so this will be a little while later. Probably my third or fourth drift event at this point. I resurrected my Nismo owned GT4s because I love those wheels, and the wheels off of my second GTR, I think. I don't remember where I got those. More drifting, just having way too much fun. I think this was like, nothing really changed. I think we put a boost controller in it. This may have been the Nismo two-way. I'm not sure. It's hard to remember them all. But just a blast, like just learning kind of as I go through the day. And that would have been stock, or this would have been the first day with new knuckles from KP Race, Chris Jenneret. That was a lot of fun in the wet, because stock knuckles in the wet are not great. But this is still basically stock SLR with some boost, so like 11 or 12 pounds of boost and just full send. This was installing my wing. My friend Ross does all of my bodywork still. I don't know how I keep suckering him in, but I do. And yeah, this was like a GP Sports or something replica wing that I bought. I don't remember off who for cheap, and got Ross to install it because I had a bunch of holes in the trunk. He washed my car for me. If you know Ross, you know that is a very big shock, because he was so upset that my car was that dirty. He washed it, and that's a miracle. Catalytic converter things. He was trying to pass air care this day. Takeshi. I haven't seen him in a long time. Takeshi was the miracle worker that kept my car alive. I have no idea how he did it or why he did it. He was always there to lend a hand and make sure I didn't do anything stupid, which I tried a lot. Shortening a downpipe, making Mark's tire rack on this first trailer. So we found that my downpipe that I bought was like a Circuit Sports downpipe or something, hung like an inch and a half lower than the frame rail, so it scraped on everything. So we pulled probably inch and a half or 2 inches out of the down section of the downpipe, and it worked so much better. There's Seth Weldon. Some more grinding, some more cutting. Some more fun. Kelly Thorpe in the background there. Anyway, that's that. that round. Now to 2011, I think. Yoshi. Oh, some pictures from Travis. Blat blat pew pew. Griffin Ross. These are old names that probably nobody ever remembers. I think we have a double up here, so yeah. Okay, I'll skip through these. Okay, so I don't know where 2012 went, but here's 2013. Makes me feel old. There's that's Trace in the green car. I think that was him. Oh yes, into more rain. Yes, I love burnouts. They're probably my most favorite thing to do at drifting events. I also like to hit barrels. But again, like this was, 2013, so I guess my third year of drifting. Still stock SR, still just a boost controller and welded diff and some knuckles and having some fun learning. I think this was. Oh, the ATR. Yeah, I miss the ATR Sports. Those things were so much. They're just nice and smoky and grippy all the way till the end. I miss those things. More barrel. Oh. And the first of many. This is the first time I stripped second gear off. Both sides. We never quite figured out why. Well, I guess I know why. It was a matter of, I guess, too much grip and not enough gear changes. So, the entire time I drove the car, it was in second gear. And it just got too hot under the load. So, thankfully, at that point, SR transmissions were pretty cheap. And, $200 or $300 wasn't too bad. And now we're on to round 2. So I decided at some point I was going to put a new kit on, paint the car, make it look pretty again. I bought the side skirts and rear bumper off of Danny. I can't remember his last name now. Drives a yellow coupe. Anyway, bought him off him probably 3-4 years before this and just shoved him into the garage. And then I ordered a front bumper because he didn't have one. So same Origin. I don't even remember which kit anymore. I think it was the Origin Stream kit. I don't know. Car looked great fresh out of the booth. Not bad for one of Ross's here's a shitty paint jobs. It turned out great. Way better than either one of us thought it would. So, have some fun with some light. I think that was one of my first drift events. Yeah, I went to a car show. Yes, I went to a car show. I don't know why. It was fun, though. Nobody really seemed to care that my car was there. It's not really a show car. But we had fun and talked to a bunch of people and said hi. And it was a good time. So, this will be my first drift event with my new turbo setup. So it was a Tomei manifold, Tomei elbow, GT 2871 the customs intersection in it, I think. Made 19 pounds. Made, was it a racing grade? Made like 257 wheel horsepower. Anyway, it was crazy amounts of fun. Good responsive setup. I had Tomei pond cams in it, and a high mount intercooler from Porsche Max. I think this was like day one of setup day with Afro, and I was on the 3/8. I was entering the bank faster than I think Brody's Pro car when he was there, but they couldn't put the power down, so that was kind of fun. Anyway, that was a good time. That was a good stage of that car. Oh yeah, and yeah, I guess this became tube frame time after I bent the car up again. I think it was the 5-car pileup that finally did this one in. It was always like, I guess part of my game plan was to do this, but after the shock tower got moved back about 6 inches and up 3 or 4, we just kind of called it and said it's time to make it all work. Anyway, Ross did a great job on this. As you can see, like everything fit perfectly. We even made my crappy little lights work. Oh yeah, and my hood vent. Yeah, as you can see, that front right corner got a little messed up. New rear jack point, bash bar. So, bash bars, I recommend do not make them out of DOM like we did. I don't know why I did it. I should have known better, but I didn't. And, well, let's just say when you wall tap on DOM, it doesn't really bend. It pushes everything over. Those are some 275s, and they fit perfectly. I would have rubbed the shit out of them had we driven the car on them, but it was fun to stick them under the car and kind of see. Well, subframe that we took some villains rack clamps, put them on. We were moving everything forward, so we just decided to put those clamps on. That's, I think, like 25 mil forward. And with a whole bunch of new GK Tech parts. So those are the IKEA Formula tie rods, and I love those things. They were beefy as shit. I think I had them 7-8 years, never bent a single one. They were great. Time to put the motor back in. Oh, of course, fresh new clutch from ACT. Oh yes, my cheap eBay mirrors because I broke another mirror. I do not recommend these things. They were $30, $40, but with the car moving, I couldn't see anything because they vibrated so much. Pile of wheels and tires, ready to go. More. I used to bulk buy. Well, I still do when I actually drive the car, but I bulk buy Zenas. And like usually about 16 or 20 at a time. And save myself a good chunk of money. Motor's back in, did some wiring. Whoop. So this was 3 days before final bout Southwest. So we had to be in park for registration in 3 days. And it's time to paint the car in Ian's garage. Yeah. That actually went, I mean, aside from the terrible duct tape that didn't stick to anything, so it was a real pain to put the poly together, but um, we did pretty good for a garage and a nail gun compressor, and well, I should say Zach did a really good job. This was basically like all hands on deck, scuff the car. And if anybody notices in the top right corner there is my new car. Didn't know it at the time. But, so, here is, oh yes, I forgot about this part. So, this was paint job. The cheapest Lord Co paint we could find. And some flake from Michael's. These are sparkles. They were $1.50 for the jar. They actually turned out alright. Like, we weren't expecting greatness, but they turned out alright. Here's both cars done. As you can see, like, the paint job turned out great for doing it really the night before we had to leave. Cars look great. We showed up on time. Call it a win. Had an absolute blast at Park. I love that track. I will go back again one day. I hope anyway. I'd love to take 34 around there with a little bit more power than that thing had. But we had a blast. I took Ian's rear end off. I got a little too close on a transition, and his bash bar skipped across the top of mine. Like, literally skipped. And took out my headlights. So he missed my radiator, my intercooler and everything, so lucky there, but a little bit of a mess. These are all marked. That's what a well-used pair of tires looks like. I love those Zenas. They do so well. Yeah, on the way home. Yeah, mark. And there's my goofy face in my car. Man, that car looks terrible without a bumper. Damn. Oh yeah, I forgot Eddie captured this. Galen has a bumper. Galen doesn't have a bumper. Has a bumper? No bumper. Yes, bumper. No bumper. So I bought a cheap knockoff replica thing off somebody locally. Painted it. Got it back together for another drift event next weekend. Or 2 weeks away, whatever it was. It fit okay. It wasn't great, wasn't bad. This is Penticton. Oh, this was trying to... I like torque Jason's something or other. I forget what it was. Yes, hi Jason. Oh, more challenges for the Drift Union Invitational. Unfortunately, that's going on this weekend, and I'm missing it, but I'll be back again next year, I hope. At least a car that works, and a little bit more. Maybe the world will be back in order. Oh, these were not good. Let's see if this loads. We're doing hill climbs. Oh, this is prank calling somebody. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, a little wall tap from Galen, because that's what I do. The first one I got absolutely perfectly. It didn't, like, just nicked the rear bumper, and the second one I went a little deeper. Oh well. Oh, America. Hey, Luke. This was Luke's first time at the Invitational. And yeah, that was a pretty wild experience for him, I think. It was great to have him along, and we had a lot of fun. But man, was he pooped on the way home. He just passed it right out. I forget whose friend couldn't show up, but they brought a cardboard cutout of him, and we took pictures. We also stuck him on a wall later and tried to hit him, so let's not say we were nice. That was Carter in his S14. Oh, the villain's trains. With Mark. The odd time that we all figured our shit out and got... Oh. So, this year Ian showed up with his new RB build. And an RB25 box compared to his old CD box from the V8. And the 369 Q45 diff that's in the car, plus the ratio in the RB25 box was so long he couldn't use anything but first. So it made drifting rather challenging for him. But made it through it. Had a bunch of fun. Did some smoky runs. That was a good year. We did a bunch of stuff that year. Park, Drifting Invitational, and then I think this was, yeah. Good times roll. Ooh, that would have been, I forget which was in that RID card. There's Marty back there. I think that's Marty. Or is that Jason? Jay. Yeah. Too many people. Can't remember. Mark. Ian. I think this was the year we had a bunch of fun with taking people. We'd take somebody for a ride and then we'd switch cars. So Ian and I would take somebody for a ride and then we'd make them switch cars so they could see the very different driving styles of Ian and I. Ian is an incredibly smooth driver. I'm an incredibly violent driver. I think it was mostly because I had the car so gripped up, and with the amount of power it had, it was the only way to drive it, and I love driving it that way. So it was a lot of full throttle, big throws, big flicks. It's either full throttle or no throttle with that car. But it was kind of fun to see them experience like the two very different styles, and you see why some worked for, or why they could work either way. Oh, there's. Oh, these are the good old days. I forget who that was. I think that was Brandon? Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure who that was. It was Chris Keel at the very back. Hasn't crashed. Well, I was gonna say hasn't crashed yet, but well, here we go. Always a great time driving with the Villains boys. Nate and Jason were just an absolute blast to have some tandem runs with. And oh yeah, they're just trying to hit that guy again. He stapled him to the wall. I don't think anybody actually hit him. I think we got a couple of close ones, but I don't think anybody actually hit him. Nope, this was Ian and I at Formula D. Just had up a booth with Northwest Nissans. Just brought the cards out for people to take a look at and check out. And this, I think, is, yeah, this was Evergreen Grassroots. This was in 2016. So they were doing the no qualifying. So it was like based off your points, and if you had no points, you went to the back. Well, I was at the back. So you can see, here's me down here. Here's Blake Stewart, because he didn't have any points either. And Nick Caffrey. And Tori was there too. So we rounded up the bottom. I made it through round 1. I forget who was. Well, let's see here. Round 1 was against Grant Smith. I think I won that one because he parked it in one of the corners, and the judges didn't like that. That's pretty much it. Yeah, more round 1 and more bumper falling off. Because every time I turned, I'd just nick the bumper and it would break all the zap straps and fall off. And I got Gaston. I love driving with Gaston. He is probably one of the more consistent drivers, and he consistently drives at 110%, just all out. So always great fun driving with him. I think we traded love taps on that one. He got me on the way in, or I got him on the way in, and then we swapped. And, yeah, that round. So let's go back here. I started 13th. I went through Grant, and then Shelby, and then Gaston was up here, and then I went up against Blake Stewart, who was another Canadian. He made it here. It was him and I in the final. And yeah, that's an all-Canadian podium at Evergreen Speedway. We had a blast that day. That was great fun. But that was the last day I drove the 180. Oh yeah, here's some pictures anyway. Oh. I forget who that was. Whose name? There's more Blake. My crazy bumper falling off. We also realized at some point that my front tire was pretty much flat, which didn't help anything. And, one of my runs with Shelby, I think he spun, unfortunately, because we had some pretty good runs. It was a lot of fun. See the cone under me here? More with Gaston. Yeah, we had very similar setups that year, I think. He had an SR with a little more power. I think a little peakier of a power band. But very similar, like just angle mods and SR and send it. Not sure what happened to Blake's car here. Kind of fell apart through the whole day. And then it's time for it all to come out. Oh yeah, there's my turbo after that weekend at Evergreen. I don't know how I won, because I was clearly missing some fins here. So I would have been down on power for sure. I'm guessing something got in the car when we were at Penticton, and it kind of ate itself. But we'll find out. Well, I guess we won't find out because the motor's gone. So. That was more Penticton fun. Oh, so this is when Josh and I decided that we were going to be real smart guys and rebuild my shell to go to And basically we're just going to leave it at villains and with an NASR in it and just have a bunch of fun. And we never really got anywhere on that project. We put the motor in and then just kind of lost speed because too many other projects, neither one of us cared enough, and it just got nowhere. So it got sold from there, and I think it ended up with another local guy here that tried to rebuild it. I don't know. I think he got a new front clip on it and a motor in and a couple other things. Like, it took a little bit of work to get this thing back to stock, but he was working pretty hard at it because it's still a pretty rust-free car. Anyway, that's 11 years, 12 years with an S13. It was a good amount of fun. Oh, no more than that. That would have been 2002 to 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. So yeah, almost 15 years with an S13. But anyway, that's history of me and my S13's. If you want to see any other history of dumb cars, maybe I'd just do a history of all my cars. Just kind of see what I've done and where I've gone with dumb car things. Anyway, that's it for now.